vaccine story. Today people are bombarded with articles about science to tell many contradictory things and they just don't know what to believe anymore. This is when conspiracies thrive and this is when people don't listen to what scientists say. We're going to talk about how people's trust in science is damaged today and why we need to fix that and how we'll do it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about these big companies affecting the FDA and why we think it's less relevant and important. First of all, 2 points of rebuttal. So the first thing they tell us is that basically if I saw something on Facebook but then the media didn't cover it, I would cover it and we think the media is misleading. So we think that this might be true today, but we think that if people learn that the media is not just covering random things, and that science can be trusted, and they know that the media is actually a source that is true and not as biased as the social media, they are likely to trust it more. The reason that they don't differentiate today is that there is no difference. Both just bombard them with bullshit, right? And we're not saying that all the people who don't believe in conspiracies will stop believing in conspiracies. We think there are some people who will always believe in them, but we think the relevant people in this debate are the people who don't believe in conspiracies, but then are so confused by the things they see from the mainstream media that they start believing in them though they didn't before. Second of all, we heard that the FDA is slow and thus we will get less information. So first of all, we think that we can make things quicker by adding additional resources. Second of all, we think that we don't know why a story about science becomes less interesting after a week. It's not a war, right? Like vaccines are still interesting in a week from now if you can prove that they are harmful to me. And lastly, we think that we have so much information today that it's actually too much. People are being drowned in information and they don't believe any of the things they see, and this is actually more harmful. So let's talk about people's trust in science, because all will tell us, look, they need to tell us both sides of the discussion and show all the complexities. We are saying this is false, right? Science should not be seen as something that is complex and has many opinions. We want the people to actually get the end result when they can rely on it and know that it is true. Why? So we think that today the media is publishing many so-called scientific articles, making all kinds of silly claims, right? Because anything that seems like it might spread a buzz is something that they want to publish to make a rating, and they know that things that seem scientific can generate an interest and they generate a bug, right? So we think that there are many false claims, but we think that mostly people are just bombarded with contradictory claims, right? So one day coffee causes a heart attack, and the next day coffee reduces your chances of a heart attack, right? One day it seems that homeopathy is amazing, it's going to solve all your problems, and the next day it doesn't do anything and it might actually damage you, right? And people are just confused, right? Now why does this happen? So first of all, because it's very easy to find bad research, right? Bad research doesn't take a lot of resource and doesn't take really good experts, right? We think that there are many self-proclaimed experts out there who would just love the publicity of being on your show and saying all their silly, non-scientific opinions with the veneer of being a scientist, right? But we also think that once there's like a buzz around one study, people feel that it's interesting, so they do bring more experts and more opinions because the media likes to do this to generate more buzz, and you're actually just getting all these contradictory claims and you're just confused. So we think that that means that people think that science contradicts itself, science doesn't know things, it can't be trusted, science doesn't really know facts, right? So we think that there's something unique about this to the mainstream media, because it's not just the fact that it has many consumers, right? We think that newspapers are still seen as objectives. We know that it's their job. They have reporters whose job it is to do in-depth research, to bring us the truth. We know that they're regulated and that they can be sued if they make false claims, which is something that is not true for social media, and we think that as a result we trust them to represent the truth, right? So we think that when the media is making all these claims, it screws up the people's perception of science. We think that this is when people don't trust science. This is when they say, you know what, we don't believe them when they tell us vaccines are no longer dangerous because they change their mind every Tuesday, right? We don't trust, right? Now we think that today the people don't trust social media, we think that when we return the media's ability to claim that it knows things about science, people will be less liable to lies on social media because they believe the things they see on real media. They know that they can trust it once more, right? And we think that social media often doesn't say we have a different scientific claim. They say science is all wrong and you should never believe it. And this seems logical for someone who sees that science constantly changes. It seems less logical for someone when they see that science actually makes consistent claims, right? So we think that there's a decline today in the belief in science, and actually by implementing this motion we can decrease the disbelief in science and we can increase the number of people who listen to studies and actually listen to what the scientists are recommending to them. Before we continue, yeah, first.
in vaccines and global warming, the ship has sailed. People have seen these articles that are anti. We need the mainstream media to show these kind of articles in order for the vast majority of people to believe that there is any objectivity in this kind of media. It's not new,
Okay,
it's
so
really happening.
since vaccines have already been proven safe, the mainstream media can today claim that they are safe. This is within the motion. We are talking about the future cases where we are going to make mistakes and the media is going to bombard people with lies. We want to prevent those cases and we want to make sure that if we did make a mistake and we come out there and say, listen, we made a mistake, people believe us. People know that we can be trusted, and when we say that there is a mistake, it's not just because science is confused and all whacked up. So let's talk about the FDA being affected by big companies. So first of all, we just disagree with them that FDA isn't changing its regulation, right? We think that FDA actually changed many of the rules of how it regulates drugs, both after the story of the tobacco companies and as a result of opiates. And we think that this is obviously not just something that is factually happening, but makes sense because it's being talked about in the media that the FDA has too much power and it's abusing that power. And as a result, there's a lot of pressure on American politicians that they should change the regulations surrounding the FDA. And there are many politicians in the Senate and in the Congress who are trying to change the laws to make sure that the FDA can be trusted, and the laws have been changed in the past, right? Because of consumer pressure, right? So we think that it's just not true that it can be changed, and it is being changed, and it's likely to become better. But we think that even if we do have rare cases of bias, we still are willing to accept them in order to win back the public's trust in science. Why? Because we think that the FDA mostly does make good claims because it is hard to fake good science. This is why it takes 10 years to approve a new drug, because you need to test it on, get the basic testing and then test it on mice and then test it on monkeys, and then like you need very limited human trials, and then you can do wider human trials, and you do a lot of things, and if they actually fail, they can't fake those results and say, oh, they didn't fail at all. If they have like, results that are somewhat ambiguous, maybe sometimes they fake them, but in most cases, you can't just make up bad science altogether, right? On the other hand, so we think that this is right, but on the other hand, there are many cases when people, because they don't believe science anymore, just do things that are bad for them. Don't take vaccinations, take or don't take drugs that they need, and just try like homeopathy to solve their cancer and things like that, which means more people are dying. Because we need to restore the public's belief in science, and this is the way to do this. Please propose.